Hello and welcome to another Demolishing My Death Pile video where I am slowly trying to reclaim my house by actually just focusing on my death pile, which is massive. I have already listed a total of 385 items. It really doesn't look like I've listed that many items because, man, I still got so much stuff here. Moxie, really. It's like as soon as she starts hearing me talk, because, you know, it's just us two, she's like, oh, it's my time to shine. It's my time to be on the camera. Hi, baby. Okay. 283 total listings, 385 items, because again, I am a bookseller and I sell multi-quantities of stuff or make book lots. So let me go ahead and show you the 20 listings I will be putting up and kind of like talked a little bit about it. Where did I put them? They're over here. Of course, I put them too far away for me to be easily accessible. Wow. All right, let's scoot that way. Thank you. All right. Gonna do some belts. It's gonna be mostly books for this day. I am gonna list 2 accessories just because they, like, I keep moving them from place to place and I'm just like, I just need to list them. It is this equestrian belt. It's a women's size large. It's got a double ring. I think you can buy this for like $25 on some websites. I don't know. But it's got horses on it. It's an equestrian belt. I figured it would sell. And also because it's a size large, I figured that'd be good. And you see it's green. I got this at the bins. This is another bins find. It is a leather belt. It's a woven leather belt. Also a size large. There it is. It says size large right there. It also has a date on it. On the buckle of 1994. I don't know if you can see that. I thought that was really cool. It is made in China from 1994. So the fact that it has a copyright date on it and the fact that it's like a statement leather belt, I picked that up because, you know, it's also from the bins. So I paid less than $1 for each one of these belts, which for those of you that are fellow resellers, when it's less than $1, it's really hard not to buy the thing, which is why I'm in the boat I'm in right now. Alright, so let me show you the books I'm listing. This is the revised English Bible with the I don't know how to say this word. I don't know. I'm sure I could look it up. It has a nice, beautiful red text block. I will pick up Bibles and stuff when I find them, when I feel like they can sell. This does have a book plate inside of it from that gentleman's library. I'm guessing that man is no longer with us. But it's in great shape. It doesn't have any writing inside of it, so I picked that up. This is really cool. This is John's Brown Body by Stephen Vincent Bennett. This is a very vintage copy. This is from 1928. Almost antiquarian. It's almost antique. So anything that's antique, it's over 100 years old. So in 4 years, that's technically an antique book. It's in great shape considering it is as old as it is. It does have the deckled edges. So I picked that up. Wherever New Method Cooking Instruction Book. This is a mid-century cookbook for an aluminium set of cookware. I've actually sold the Wherever aluminum, the mid-century aluminum cookware multiple times. And I thought it'd be really cool to see if I could sell the book as well. Beautiful like little mid-century illustrations in here. I just thought this was really cute. I figured if this book didn't sell, even though there was sales history of this book online, next time I find a Wherever aluminum pan, this could be included in that sale. I think that's a nice little value add. We have the Pillsbury Bake Off cookbook. It's just a cute little cookbook from the 70s using Pillsbury products. Woodlawn Plantation cookbook. This is a plastic spiral bound from the Woodlawn Plantation. The Pope Lely House and Nellie Needlers are 2 very well-known buildings. Really cute little cookbook there. This actually has sales history as well. I have 2 P.G. Wodehouse books. I picked this one up originally at that big book church sale, thinking that I'd had 2 to make a set with, but I actually picked up a P.D. James book instead of a P.G. Wodehouse book. Well, I found another P.G. Wodehouse book. Both of these have Jeeves as the main character, so I'm just going to make a set Typically I prefer to have 3 books in a lot, but I didn't find a 3rd book, and I'm just going to go ahead and list these and see what happens, because both of these are books that have multiple books in them, so I think that works at that point. Speaking of 3 books, I have 3 Ernest Hemingway books. True at First Light, The Sun Also Rises, and A Movable Feast. So a nice little trade paper book lot of Ernest Hemingway books. This is Diaries, Memoirs, and Letters of the Civil War, The Union. If you can get the set, so there's this book, which is The Union, and then there is, of course, The Confederacy. If you get the set, it's more valuable, but I only was able to find this book when I sourced it at the bins. It has a ribbon marker, which is what this is called when it's actually like into the binding, and then also has gilded edges. So it has a gilded text block, which is why this is all gold and shiny. So that has sales history by itself. Hey Preach, You're Coming Through by David Wilkinson. This is actually given to me by Melissa, so this is free. I have 3 John Steinbeck books. We have The Red Pony of Mice and Men and The Pearl by John Steinbeck. So this little tiny little book lot for John Steinbeck. This is another free-to-be book from Melissa. So this is Walk in the Moonlight by Eve Bennett. Somebody did punch a hole in it. I do know that there used to be a secondhand bookshop in my area here that used to do this, that used to punch the cover to denote where it came from, which is just horrifying, but I guess that is not a unique idea for secondhand booksellers. But it is very frustrating for those of us that don't want that hole in the cover. So this is a Walk in Moonlight. This is a coming of age story about like childhood first loves. So there is that. Another cookbook. I Can't Eat Like Grandma Used to, a collection of favorite low-calorie recipes. I just thought this was neat. I've never seen a wooden-bound, ring-bound book before, but apparently there were a lot of these produced. They look like they were actually hand-typed out on a typewriter, which is insane. So I thought that this was like a one-of-a-kind kind of neat thing, but no, there's actually like so many of these. This was originally published in 1983. So I thought it was a unique item. It's not a unique item, which is kind of great because it already has sales history up. We have On to This Last by Ruskin. It's a little cloth-bound Everyman's Library. This would have had a dust jacket, but it currently does not have the dust jacket with it. This is an older Everyman's Library. This is from 1932. Maybe this one didn't have a dust jacket, but I feel like it did. Everyman's Library has been around for a while. It also has somebody's, this is in pencil, so someone could erase this if they wanted to, but it has a dedication in it to it in 1938. It's another really old book. I have 2 plays, 2 very old vintage plays. We have Nero by Stephen Phillips and then Daily Bread by Wilfred Wilson Gibson. Both of these are cloth-bound hardcovers. They're both vintage plays. I have some erasing I need to do. The Daily Bread is from 1916. And I think Nero is from the 30s. 1906, never mind. So, antiquarian books as well. These are actually getting listed as a pair. So I have found 2 Telltale books. Both of these are from the 60s and 70s. I think this one is from the 70s and this one is from the 60s based on the back coloring. But this is Lassie, The Busy Morning, and Hooray for Lassie. Cute 2 little books there, little children's books. And then I have this, which is Meat Selection Preparations and 100 Ways to Serve. I've actually sold these little meat cookbooks before. This is from the Department of Food and Armor and Company, Chicago. So during the Depression, the Great Depression, books like this were given out to try to help people, you know, make their food last longer or do more for them. This is from 1932. So there is that. And then this last book, I have some trepidation sharing on the internet because, well, I also have some trepidation selling it because I remember this book as a child, and because I was a child, I didn't understand the implications of it. I just remember this being at my daycare center as something to read. Now, understand that I also grew up in the South, so not great. And if you own a Disney Plus membership, there's several movies and show on Disney Plus that come with a warning about how this is racist, about how they made some pretty racist content. But I did find this at the bins, and I did pick it up, and I am selling it. It is Walt Disney's The Story of Brer Rabbit and the Tar Baby. If you can't understand why there might be some not even subtle racist undertones to this, I can't help you. But this is sealed. That is why I picked it up. It also has some little kid put the sticker on the back, but this is brand new sealed. It still has its original read-along 33mm record inside of it. I don't know the condition of the record because I did find this at the bins, and I'm not opening it because it is sealed original from, I'm guessing, the 70s. So, like, late 60s, early 70s. I'm not 100% sure, but I did pick this up. Now we're gonna go into a jump cut, and you guys are going to see what got listed. Editing Bob here. I accidentally deleted the file that showed all of the drafts. So my eBay store is linked down below if you want to double check my work to see if I actually listed them. That being said, if you don't see them listed, it's because they already sold, not because I didn't list them. But pretend there's a clip here that is not just my face. That I promise I did the work. This is where I am as far as listings and items go. I'm going to show you the 20 listings that I plan to do today. Still books, because I have a bunch of holes in books to list, and like I said, I have literal banker's boxes full of books I need to list. Miss Moxie will probably be screaming at me the whole time. First one is a full trilogy, the Icewind Dale trilogy from Forgotten Realms. Crystal Shard, Streams of Silver, and the Halfling's Gem. I actually picked these up from a secondhand bookstore. They had severely undervalued these in my personal opinion, plus I had like I still have a really nice fat credit for them. So I do pop in there on occasion just to see, and I saw that they had all three of these in the matching 90s edition, so I picked them up. So I will list these, which is very exciting. Also very tempting to keep, but I am not doing that. I also picked up, also going to be listing a set of Bunny Cule. It's upside down. It is upside down. Bunny Cule. I don't know. Vampire Bunny. The Vampire Bunny books. These are kids' books. I found a bunch of these at the bins. I don't really sell kids' books very often, but because this is the same series and they were all together, I was just like, you know what, let's try it. So I got those three, and I do like to sell in groups of 3. Also managed to find this, which is very exciting for me. This is the Young Adventurers Guide. So this is a breakdown of how to play Dungeons and Dragons and the rules for Dungeons and Dragons for like middle school age kind of kids. But yeah, all 4 of these. So I'm going to sell this as a lot, which I think is really awesome. I think that's great. We have some Hardy Boys. Again, the blue tops. I don't do the flashlight series because unless you have like a big lot of them, it's not really worth it to get. But I do pick up the blue top ones. These are the ones that are like the mid-century publications, so the 50s, 60s, and early 70s. This is number 40. This is number 50. So those will get listed. Another set of 3. These are E.B. White. E.B. White, most well known for Charlotte's Web, and also Stuart Little. Both of these peak, like they stay in the public domain. And The Trumpet of the Swan, one of their more lesser known works, but nice little trilogy there for kids. Custer's Last Stand. I thought this was interesting. It's a permabound hardcover from, I think, the 60s. Not 100% sure. Nope, 1951. That has been super romanticized for I have no idea why. Defeat into victory battling Japan and Burma and India during the Second World War. Nonfiction. I will pick up nonfiction when I find it because it's normally valuable. Quilts Among the Plains People. This is the 4th booklet, so there's a bunch of different booklets that go over different, I'm guessing, different tribal entities and their patterns, but it's quilting and it's also indigenous, so I figured this would have some value, and I definitely didn't want that to go in the trash. Some more nonfiction, archaeological perspectives on the Battle of the Little Bighorn history book. This I thought was cool and a surprise. So a 1974 edition of Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. This is a deeply creepy man. Wrote a lot of erotic fiction, if you did not know, and for some odd reason found a lot of commercial success selling kids' books. Like, just straight up feet pics there. Actually did not like children. Anyway, there's some interesting information for you, but this is an original 1974 edition of Where the Sidewalk Ends. But Sacagawea's People, another history book. Definitely picking this up. This does have like a tear in the dust jacket, but I don't care. I think that that's awesome. Another history book, Walter Boyne, Clash of Wings. Fun fact, this actually had a hotel key card in it from Budapest, the Hilton Hotel in Budapest, which I found very interesting. That was what was being used as a bookmark. There is that. Dreams Across the Divide, another history book, stories of Montana pioneers. So this is just stories told by different Montana travelers. Another history book. Can you tell I'm a history major and like picking up history books? Hampton's Old With, Jewel of Virginia Tidewater, my last one of these, like not this exact one, but another book that's similar about this has already sold as well, so I picked up something else on the similar topic, so I thought that would work. And everything else is a graphic novel. So this is A Dame to Kill For, Sin City. If you did not know, it was made into a movie. This is the 2nd volume. This is actually a 2005 edition, so a more modern printing looks like this. So if you see one with the big color block, either yellow or red, with the black and white, that is a 2005 edition, original edition. And if you don't see it where it's just the plain black and white, that is a more modern printing. But this is the Yellow Bastard. This is number 4. There is that. And then some more manga. I have the first edition of New Legs, Run on You, which I think is really cool. And then Welcome to the Ballroom. I have number 1 and number 8. Very awesome to find manga out at the bins. It's always awesome to find manga at the bins normally because it sells pretty quickly and pretty well for me. Those are more like newer manga, which can either be good or bad. The good thing is that if it doesn't sell within a certain amount of time, I could honestly just take it to Second and Charles and they'll give me store credit for it. The older, but either way, it's good. Either way, I'm gonna make money on it in some way, form, or another. But let me go ahead and photograph everything and then we'll do a jump cut and I'll show you the drafts. We have 21 listings, and that is because this book here, I had a second copy and the first one had sold, so that's why that's there. So everything is drafted and gonna get all these listed. All right, so this is where I am so far. So I'm going to show you the listings I'm going to do today. I'm hoping to do, I was just going to do 20, but I have a box of basically manga and I'm basically like, why would I just like not list 2 of those? So I'm going to show you everything I'm going to list, and I'm going to do, I think, hopefully a total of 22 listings.
There's going to be a couple of lots in here, so we're going to push those numbers up a little bit. I know I've talked about on this channel before how I normally only pick up the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s Nancy Drew and Hardy Boy books that have the blue text block, because those are the ones that individually sell well for me. However, I will pick up the Flashlight series of both of those when I find a lot of them. So this is a set of 9 Nancy Drew books, 21 through 29. So the fact that I found all of these, they're all in like new condition. I mean, I could technically put them in new condition because they are crispy, but I'm gonna put them in like new condition because I don't know if they're new or not, technically. And I didn't buy them brand new, so I'm going to be as honest as I can, but I will list these because it is a full run. I know I could just pick up the Flashlight series at the Ben's and probably have made several of them. But this is one I found at a thrift store, and I paid roughly Ben's prices for them because it was buy one, get one. So that's why I decided to go ahead and pick these up when I did pick these up. So even my rules aren't always hard and fast rules. We have the Chronicles of Vladimir Todd. This is actually a 5-book series, but I only have 3 of the books, and I'm just gonna list them because I haven't come across the other 2 and I have 3, so that's good enough for me. I did manage to find every single one of these books. So Me Before You, which was made into a movie starring Fennec from Hunger Games, and Emilia Clarke, who plays the lady from Game of Thrones. I can't remember her character's name. Khaleesi from Game of Thrones. I think that's it. Anyway, I've not watched the movie. I've only seen snippets on TikTok. But I did come across the entire trilogy. So this is Me Before You, which is the first book in the series, After You, and Still Me, which follows her after the events of the first book take place. So there's that. Now this is really cool. This is Skellig, which is a UK book. I think this is technically YA, but I think it's also run like other regular novel awards. This is actually signed by the author, and this is the first American edition. This I'll actually probably keep out and maybe read it before it sells. I'm gonna put that at the top of the TBR just because anytime I make one of these videos and I say I'm gonna keep it before it's, and like read it before it sells, it immediately sells. So I'm gonna try to read that before that happens. But it's a signed book from the author. Hopefully not be tempted to keep it. But The Amtrak Wars, this is a Australian science fiction series. This is an Australian printing. This is number 6. Picked this up. I originally was going to put this up on Whatnot, but because it's an Australian import and it's the 6th book in the series, I feel like it would have a better chance selling on eBay than it would selling on Whatnot, because you'd have to have like a very specific buyer for that. This is an RPG book. This is the second ed for Mutants and Masterminds. So if you would like to run an Expense style role-playing game, I have everything you need in this book. But I paid 50 cents for this at the Ben's, and gladly so, because these are pretty valuable. This sells for roughly around $20. So that's great. Some Barbie books. These would have been great to find like, you know, a year ago. But these are Barbie Book Club books from the 90s. These are all from 1998. So Shooting for the Stars, Skipper's Babysitting Blues, and A Stitch in Time. You know, we got the nice trifecta here. That's what I like when I'm listing a lot of books. I'd rather do 3 because people are used to trilogies, which is what I'm going to show you here. This is a trilogy I actually personally own myself. Cassandra Clare is an author. I own, I think, almost every single one of the books that she has.
There's no one in your contacts named Cassandra Clare. Whose contact info are you looking for?
Man, I would love to have a conversation with her. Geez, okay, that was weird. Thank you, Cyril. This is a trilogy I own. I haven't gotten a chance to read it because, as you can tell, she writes some thick books. But the Clockwork Angel trilogy is tattooed on my arm forever because I really loved it. It's one of the first YA series that has one of those like love triangles, but like it works out, and it works out in such a lovely way that like that's why it's tattooed on my arm. I just think she's a masterful writer. There's this teenage angst in most of her books, but again, I haven't read this one yet, but I did come across all of them. So, although I do feel a little bit miffed the fact that I did buy all of these for my own purposes to have them in my own collection brand new. So that cost me like over $75, whereas I could have just paid $1.50 if I had just, known 10 years later that I would have been able to own them and only paid $1.50 for them. But here are these. These are going to get listed and someone's going to get a good deal on them. Much better deal than I got when I originally purchased it. However, this is actually a recent publication. This is a 2024 book. This is the first book in the Fey Alchemy series. I think it's what the trilogy is going to be called, or the series is going to be called. This is by Kelly Hart. It's Quicksilver. This is out of print. I think this is one of those books that blew up on Book Talk, and I managed to find a copy of it at the bins. So this was 25 cents. Again, might have been one of those, they got it off of Book Top, they read it, and then just like donated it. I don't know, but I have it and it's selling pretty well on eBay, so that's now listed. Raymond Feist. I actually managed to get the entire trilogy, just like with the Cassandra Clare books. I managed to score all of these at the same time. If you dig at the bins, if you normally find 2 of the books in the trilogy, if you look really hard, you will find that third book. And if you keep hearing the beeping in the background, that is the dryer telling me it is done. Just so you know. So I have all of these. That is now listed as well. That's the Conclave of Shadows trilogy. I guess I technically am listing 23 books because I actually already have this listing up, but I'm not going to count this. So this book is technically listed, but it's not going to count because I'm literally just changing the quantity on one of my already existing listings. This is the 5th book in the Sword of Truth series. I already have one of these listed, so I just put 2 in there. So because it's not technically a new listing, I'm just not counting it. It's just now listed because I've changed a number somewhere. But let me go stop the evil beeping. That is some timing. I don't even know if you guys can hear that or not. And then I will show you the manga that I'm also listing. Now for the rest of it. So show you the not manga first. This is The Saint Plays with Fire by Leslie Charters. This is a pulpy mystery thriller, I think, like a detective James Bonding. I don't know. I don't know why I'm making stuff up. I have no idea what this book is about. It's from 1943. It's in amazing condition considering how old it is. Beautiful red text block, by the way, if you're new. This is called the text block. That is the technical term for it. The modern term for it is sprayed edges, which sounds like a landscaping term to me, but I'm glad that they're becoming popular again and more publishers are spending the extra like half a cent to do that per book for the newer releases, because I think it makes it looks pretty. I think it makes it look pretty. But it has its beautiful dust jacket. This is a triangle book. This is in great shape, doesn't have any writing inside of it. I mean, the pages are tanned because, you know, this was published in 1943. But it doesn't have any foxing, which is immaculate. So I really am super glad I found that and saved it from the trash. I've talked about before how occult books, astrology books, psychic books all do really well. This is Essays on the Foundations of Astrology. This is one of the first like scientific reviews and foundations of astrology. So that will do well, I'm sure. And then the last not manga book, I believe, yes, is Alfred Hitchcock's Murder's Row. This is a collection of mystery horror short stories edited by Alfred Hitchcock, the man himself. Of course, it's got the nice blue, teal blue Dell text block there that was popular during this time period. This does have boxing, but overall it's still in really good shape. This is from 1975. That was an easy pickup. And then everything else is manga. This is Inuyasha, number 5. This does have some condition issues. It's got some creased covers and some wavy graviness, but it'll still sell. I have the first volume and the third volume of Tsubasa by Clamp. I could go to Second Trials and see if I could find the number 2 issue, but I'm just gonna list both of these separately. I will do that if these don't sell within a certain time period. If these get to the 30-day cycle where there's no views on them, I will probably go do that and then just delist those 2 books and make a bundle, or hopefully make a bundle by finding the second book somewhere. This is Suikoden. If you speak Japanese, I'm sorry if I messed that up. There's also a video game. This is Suikoden 3, The Successor of Fate. This is, this is the first volume of this series. I also have the first volume of Nigima, which is, I think, an anime that's still available to watch on Crunchyroll. I should probably do that because I've seen this before, but I've not watched it. I've not read it either. This is Rurouni Kenshin. I know this is super popular, and I'm sorry this is your favorite manga / anime, and I just butchered the pronunciation. I've heard of this, not read it or seen it. Astro Boy, I have volume 3 and 4. I'm listing these separately because volume 3 sells better than volume 4, and they both sell well enough to where it's worth listing them separately. And of course, I do have buy 3, get the 4th book free in my store, so I have, at this point, I think 500 books listed. I think that it's possible to find 4 books in there. And then Blade of the Immortal. This is the, I think, 10th book in this series. This is probably the most valuable of the manga out of all the ones I'm listing today. This sells for roughly like $15, which is what it sold for pretty much new. So there is this one. So we're gonna do a jump cut, and I am going to show you all of the drafts because that's what we're doing now. I'm gonna photograph all of these, let the baby girl out and play with her for a bit. Before I do that though, because she is needing attention. And now, Baba girl, are you wasting away? Are you wasting away? This is the boy's cat. This is Switch. She is a beastie. So we like to say that you see that one little white spot on her? She is otherwise a completely black cat, except for that tiny little white spot there on her chest. And that little tiny bit of white is all the goodness she carries in her whole self. Everything else is pitch black murder darkness. She is not a good pet. Good barn cat, even though we don't have a barn or land, but would be a great barn cat to give an occasional pet to as she murders all the vermin in the area, because otherwise she will murder your ankles and your hands and your feet and anything else she can reach, because she is just evil. She's like the exact opposite of Moxie, which is why, again, why we don't live together is because we need to find a house where we can both cohabitate and both the cats can live in separate spaces, because Switch would eat Moxie. Moxie is a beautiful doofus and no self-preservation skills at all other than to hide and be afraid of everything. So that's too much. I'm gonna do the jump cut now, and I'm gonna get to drafting. Oh, 22 listings. We got all of the manga And then the book lots. So I feel really happy with this. Gonna get all this listed and I'm excited. I'm getting closer to the 500 mark. I feel it. Welcome to the wall of accountability. So these are the 3 days I did. Good eBay sales here while I'm listing. But 2026, 2130, and then woo! 2237. So this ended up being a great weekend of sales for me because I did some really great listing. I am almost at 500 items, y'all, which is so exciting. So that means the next video I'll be hitting that 500 item mark and we can do a projects video. I'm very excited to be able to do my first projects video. Also during the projects video I will be announcing a tiny change just because this has been amazing, but it's also been a lot. But I am really excited the fact that it's not even halfway through the month and we're already here. So really happy. Again, the lots of books definitely helped me get there a lot faster. Hopefully you guys liked watching the last 3 days of me trying to demolish my death pile. I know it's been pretty much books. It has been pretty much books. And I will try to do clothing some more because, you know, I have massive piles in both places for both kinds of items. I have tons of items, just so many items. The fact that I am now almost at 500 items is great. That does mean that, you know, after the next Death Mile demolition video comes out, that I will be able to do that projects to profits video, which I'm excited about. Again, if you have any questions, like Q&A you want to ask me so I can answer them during that video, please just leave them in the comments down below. But again, thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you hopefully sooner rather than later. Bye. Bye. It's in great shape.